Well, yeah. Here, let's clear off the desk and we can kind of talk about what we've done. What have we done? And then with a little bit of our time left, maybe we can start building something. Ooh, we can start building something. Our Plamo Weekender kit. How about that? Ooh, ooh. But yeah, here it is, guys. This is the HG Guntank that I painted. I painted it in pretty much like a week or so, which is not too bad. Of course, this kit is a very simple kit, being an HG kit from 2000 or something like that. The construction is fairly easy, maybe to the point where if they were to make a revision, a 1.0, 2.0 rather, maybe it would be a more interesting building experience. But for what it is perfectly fine and functional, especially if you want something that's anime accurate. It kind of looks exactly how it should, and its articulation is more or less what you would want out of a Guntank. The only real complaint I have regarding the construction of this model would be the tracks, which are simply a rubbery plastic that kind of is banded around and snapped together around the wheels. But unfortunately, the wheels aren't articulated. Again, this is an old kit, so I'm sure all of you are really aware of that. But yeah, the wheels don't move. It doesn't kind of roll, which I feel like at a bare minimum, you kind of want your rolly tank things to move, right? But other than that, the model itself and how it looks is pretty much spot on. Now, when it comes to painting, I pretty much went through the normal process of like laying down the base coats, very thin layers of acrylic, and laying it down flat, and then after that, kind of getting into things like the panel lining, the chipping and scrapes, and then the rust. And after that point, it was really just the finer details, which there still might be a few things that I might want to adjust and tweak. I'll have to kind of look at this model again with fresh eyes and kind of address those areas. But yeah, what we have here is pretty much like a rusty, crusty Guntank, which I'm pretty happy with. I think that had I stopped at the point where it was just a flat base coat, that would have been fine. Or if I stopped where it was just simply scuffed up and scratched and chipped, I think that would have been fine. But applying that layer of like kind of atmospheric dust and rust and stuff like that, maybe as inaccurate as that might be to the actual Gundam lore regarding rust or whatever, blah blah blah, I think that that's just like that sweet spot for me where I like to have my models. And I've been trying to be a bit more mindful of the amount of rust as I apply it, and weathering in general as I apply it to models, whether it be something from Gundam or Machining Krieger or what have you. Mindful of the scale, mindful of like the degree of how much weathering and all of that stuff I should apply to this model, or any of my models. However, at this point, I think that I I was probably going a bit more heavy-handed than maybe I originally intended to in terms of the weathering. I'm still perfectly happy with where we're at with it, but I did attempt to kind of scale it back, and I still might scale it back a bit more. Some of the weathering that appears, like for example on the front over there, my feeling is that like when you look at this model, it still reads as like a blue, red, and gray Guntank, and you're not seeing all the rust first. It's only upon close inspection that you kind of pick up on that. Um, so, so if you were to look at this from like far away, you'd probably read it as that. Storma, I feel like you got a good amount. Well, thank you, I appreciate it. Needs more moss, yeah. That'll be coming up next, some moss. Um, but yeah, let's take a look. Looks great, especially considering how quickly you did it. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is kind of like I wanted to do a more a faster build to just sort of relax. And again, for all the things that I was saying about this model, it was really fun to do. And at the end of the day, that's kind of like the main thing, is like for all the things about like how much rust and how smooth the paint is going on, and this thing and that thing. Uh, uh, are you having fun? And I had a lot of fun doing this model, to the point where I think I would like to get a lot more sort of like uh, original 79 Gundam models, original series stuff, and apply the same kind of mindset and treatment to these simple models, like painting them true to their anime accurate depictions, but then applying an extra layer of realism, quote unquote, to them through weathering and all of that stuff. I think that's very interesting. And so next, I would like to do the same treatment as I've been saying to the RX-78 easy grade uh, that I have, the EG, and then entry grade rather, and then I have to get a gun cannon, and then we'll have the trio, and that'll be really fun. And at that point, we'll make a little display diorama thingamajigger. But yeah, very happy with the overall result of this, and now we're going to move on to some bigger, more ambitious projects, I think. So let's get on with it. It's still only like early 2024, and there's a lot more projects to be done. But as far as like a fully painted project for the year, this is the first, and we'll keep that going.